Welcome to Intelligent Artifice, the podcast that helps you become a 10x performance marketer. Intelligent Artifice explores the cutting edge of the intersection of AI, creatives, and performance marketing. Every week, we deconstruct the ad systems behind high-performing advertisers using our in-house semantic analysis system, BruteForce AI, or we sit down with top operators redefining how advertising gets done in a generative AI world. Whether you're scaling user acquisition, leading a creative team, or building a creative engine with AI, this podcast is your unfair advantage. Intelligent Artifice is hosted by me, Shamant Rao, the founder and CEO of the boutique growth marketing agency, Rocketship HQ. You can find out more about us at rocketshiphq.com. Our services are ideal for advertisers spending over $50,000 a month on paid social. Check out the podcast website, intelligentartifice.net, or our newsletter, intelligentartifice.kit.com. Today, we are deconstructing PictureThis, a plant identification and care app. I selected this not just for its numbers or for the fact that it is such an unusual vertical, but I selected them because they're also a great case study in how strategically these ads are built for conversion and performance. I analyzed 64 of their top performing creatives using our in-house AI engine, BruteForce AI, which applies deep semantic analysis to surface repeatable messaging structures. Let's dive in. You can see some of the spoken hooks here, how to care for it. A lot of ads lead with questions like that. A lot of ads lead with a suggestion of a progression, like yesterday, today, tomorrow, which implies that the condition of their plants could improve and they can see the progression and improvement by using this app. With text hooks and visual hooks, this is where things get interesting. You can see options and choices almost like you would in a gaming ad. Keep it or remove it, right or wrong, milk or soak, here or there. There are a lot of options and choices, and you can see that these are directly borrowed from a lot of gaming ads where they depict a hand that is trying to pick from one of two options, and the options can be right or wrong, and it can end in a success or a fail state. Now, if we have to look at the pain points depicted, the most common is just incorrect care and conflicting advice that users may have gotten. A lot of the ads speak to possible misconceptions that the users might have from having reviewed other sources. Maybe they are overwatering, they're pruning wrong, or using ineffective tactics. Another pain point would be what I would call identification anxiety, which is to really identify the plant right, because users aren't always sure what the plant, and that can result in them caring incorrectly for these plants. So in other words, a lot of ads highlight the emotional cost of not knowing what the plants are or how to care for them. And if we look at the user's aspirations, the primary one seems to be how a user can see the transformation of a plant from sick to thriving, from wilted to blooming. And that visible transformation is something that a lot of users aspire to, and that is what a lot of ads highlight as users' aspiration. Another user aspiration also is just knowing and being knowledgeable about how to care for plants. So a lot of ads depict the kind of nuance that goes into caring for a plant. Something else you notice is the depiction of effortlessness. You can see a lot of ads that show an instant scan of a plant by the app and how an immediate scan can help a user identify the plant. That depicts the ease of use and effortlessness. Next, if you look at FOMO, the most prominent depiction of FOMO is what happens when the plant is not cared for right, which is the fail state. The plant wilts, the plant withers, and that's the fail state that is depicted. There is also implied FOMO in when the ads show this is wrong. It implies that if you don't do this right, you may be missing out on a blooming plant. And with that, there's also a subtle contrast with other people's blooming plants. So you can see the difference between a plant that has been cared for incorrectly and a plant that has been cared for correctly. With that, a user can have some kind of internal tension. Do I know what I'm doing? Do I know what I'm missing out? What kind of knowledge am I missing out on? And that engenders FOMO. And now if you look at message sequencing, there is certainly the classic problem and solution. You show the before and after, a wilted and a blooming plant, which is very proven. The other big message sequencing format is a product demo, where you start by showing the product features, which is a scan or a care guide or overlay that show exactly what is in the app. And this is much more effective for high intent users, whereas a problem solution format is much more effective for lower intent users. Now, as final thoughts and takeaways, the ads for PictureThis are great examples of how creative strategy can be used for what would appear to be a very tiny niche. And you can see great examples here of how a lot of these ads pair visual pattern interrupts with real user pain points. And we can see how a lot of these ads build transformation narratives that feel very, very attainable. You can see how these ads position the product as a tool that gives the users confidence, control, and competence. And even if you're marketing a completely different kind of product, this kind of creative structure is worth paying attention to and emulating. Thank you for listening and watching. I'm Shamanth Rao. This is Intelligent Artifice. If you found this breakdown helpful, please do share and subscribe. You can check out the full visual teardown in the link below.